an article on the LDS website, this is what they say with regards to abortion. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints believes in the sanctity of life. Therefore, the Church opposes elective abortion for personal or social convenience and counsels its members not to submit to perform, encourage, pay for, or arrange for such abortions. So the first thing, it is notable to praise them for saying they do hold to the sanctity of human life. But here comes the issue. It says the Church allows for possible exceptions for its members when pregnancy results from rape or incest. A competent physician determines that the life or health of the mother is in serious jeopardy, or a competent physician determines that the fetus has severe defects that will not allow the baby to survive beyond birth. Even these exceptions do not automatically justify abortion. So, there's a couple issues here. First one is that it is permissible, or at least there are exceptions made for individuals who go through rape or incest. I will say at the outset that rape and incest is terrible, and the individual should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, but it does not justify the murder of another human being because of the circumstances the individual was born from. As I said, it's necessary to punish the perpetrator and not the unborn child. So it's also important for us to see that the scriptures also hold that children are innocent. We find in Genesis 1:26, then God said, "Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. They will rule the fish of the sea, the birds of the sky, the livestock, the whole earth, and the creatures that crawl on the earth." So here we can see that everybody is made in the image of God. That's why they have dignity, and they should be protected because they are made in the Lord's image. But we also need to see, though, that in Proverbs chapter 6, verse 16 through 19, it says, "The Lord hates 6 things. In fact, 7 are detestable to him: arrogant eyes, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that plots wicked schemes, feet eager to run to evil, a lying witness who gives false testimony, and one who stirs up trouble among brothers." So here, notice the hands that shed innocent blood. If a doctor or somebody is going to kill this child, they have shed innocent blood, and by extension, those involved, whether it's the mother or the father, are also liable for this sin. Now, of course, there's forgiveness for this sin, but this does not justify the taking of the innocent life because of the circumstances the individual has been born from. Once again, and I will reiterate this, it is necessary to punish the perpetrator and not the innocent soul involved. Let's continue on. It says in Exodus chapter 23, verse 7, it says, "Keep far from a false charge and do not kill the innocent and righteous, for I will not acquit the wicked." So here, of course, it's saying do not kill the innocent and the righteous. Do not put someone to death because they have done nothing wrong. That's what the Lord's saying there. We also need to see, though, that the Lord takes this very seriously with regards to the death of the innocent. In Jeremiah chapter 19, verse 4 and 5, it says, "Because the people have forsaken me and have profaned this place by making offerings in it to other gods, whom neither they nor their fathers nor the kings of Judah have known, and because they have filled this place with the blood of the innocents, and have built the high places of Baal, to burn their sons in the fire as a burnt offering to Baal, which I did not command or decree, nor did it come into my mind." So here we can clearly see the Lord is not for the killing of the innocents. Now we can turn to potentially life-threatening situations for the mother. It says, and this is from the Irish Independent, consultant ontologist Professor John Crown explained that if somebody had a surgically removable cancer that was life-threatening and for which treatment delay would be a risk, surgery would be expedited, which means the surgery would be moved up. He stressed radiotherapy, which would radiate the fetus, was a no-no. So here we can clearly see the doctor's concern for protecting both the unborn patient and the mother. He says, "At any stage in pregnancy, you would desperately try to avoid it. I can think of only one circumstance in all of my 30 years where we had to make a very tough decision to recommend that a woman would undertake radiotherapy, which would radiate the fetus," he said. "In the most common case of breast cancer," he said, "that Most early diagnosed cases were potentially curable. What I say to most patients is, I know this sounds like the worst thing that could have happened, but there is a high chance you are going to get two happy outcomes here. You will be cured and the baby will be born normal. That is the most likely outcome. And we also need to stress that simply because the child may have a birth defect does not mean we should be willing to, end its life because it may not have a good quality of life by terms of worldly standards. Because we need to understand that, especially for Mormons who claim to, believe in the Lord, that the Lord is ultimately in control. Of course, the Lord can work through medical means, but whenever the medical establishment doesn't see a way through, the Lord can still act and move. And the point is that we need to be willing to protect human life at all cost. Let's continue on. This is from Omar El Hananda, and he said that I want to be absolutely clear. I want to clear something up so that there is absolutely no doubt. I'm a board certified OBGYN who delivered 2,500 babies. There is not a single fetal or maternal condition that requires third trimester abortion. Not one. Delivery, yes. Abortion, no. So he's saying that there is no need for an abortion to save the mother's life. And these are specialists in the field, and so there is no justifiable way to say that an abortion will ultimately be better and save the mother's life. Because whether you want to admit it or not, whenever they commit abortion, they're murdering the child. And I know that's an unpleasant thought, but that's the basic facts of what's going on. You're ending a life for an individual who had no choice in the matter. So the Mormons need to be willing to not allow abortion for the incest, rape, or the mother being in a situation where the mother may die, because the statistical probability of that happening is minuscule.